Gurudev, thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate that, and helping out with the Huffington Post article for Sacred Soul Shifts. And I think the biggest question today, you know, you're probably aware in all of your travels and all the people that you meet, there's so many people that are stuck today, and they're looking for answers. How can they shift? What's your advice for them to be able to make a shift out of being in that state of stuckness?
Right. See, most people who are searching for the meaning of life, they are looking through the mediums of meditation, yoga, health, many other meditations, many other systems rather, and approaches. But what I see is they are trying to solve the problem that appear as symptoms on the surface of life, on the surface of the body. The cause remains unaddressed. So this is what I see, that people are learning, trying to find the spiritual answer or in a spiritual dimension, but most of the spiritual dimension, the way they understand and the practice, tries to solve the problem that appear on the surface of life in their intimate relationship in their love life, family life, work life, or social life. But that is where it is the symptom that appears, and the conflicts that appear there, disharmony, unhappiness that come from those relationships is actually the symptom. Symptoms represent the reflection of the person who is reactively perceiving it. It's not coming from it is coming from the perceiver. But most people do not know, and perceiver is the cause. Perceived represents the effect or the symptoms. So most people today, they're trying to be awakened to the whole new level, but this is the area that most people are not aware of. So everything that I teach is in the practice of I am yoga nidra, is about how to go to the cause rather than just the effect. Effects are external, created by ego mind that lives in separation from the self that we are, source of love that we are, and it is trying to seek love from the external world and external relationship. And when it doesn't find, and he expects to come from the other, and that means who is expecting to come from the other? The part of you that has separated from the source of oneness within, and therefore it creates the same separation outside as it is inside.
Okay, so putting it into simple terms for someone who's not quite maybe at your level or my level, and they're watching this and they're just stepping out going, whoa, this seems overwhelming. So breaking this down, they're searching for answers outside of themselves when really the answers come from within, correct? Right. In separating from the ego mind in that pureness state within. So you talk about Nidra yoga. Now imagine being in their position where they're totally green to all of this. They just know they're stuck and they're looking for a shift. Right. Nidra yoga is what? What can they tap into where they can then connect and make that shift internally and experience that awakening?
That's the most important question that you ask, because Yoga Nidra is the practice of yoga that is taking you back to who you really are. It is seeing also, it helps you to see who you are not. You are not the time-bound ego mind that functions in the dimension of time through the medium of the mind. You are the soul, the Atman, the source of oneness within, the source of love within, but it has separated from the source of oneness, looking for it outside, and the more it looks from outside, more it gets frustrated and gets angry and blames itself or blames others, feels guilty or blameful, angry, fearful, frustrated about the search because it is destined to be a failure if you look for it where it is not. This is the same thing as God. We are looking for where it is not. God is not outside of you. Neither is love that God is. Therefore, this yoga that I have developed, Yoga Nidra that I have developed, is all about how to return to the source of love within and using the reflection to see what you cannot see about yourself. So when I see that I am in conflict with you, I found out I am in conflict with myself. My self-image that I identify with is in conflict with the self that I really am. That is manifesting externally. So external conflict that appear to be coming from outside are created inside. That is the cause. So how to remove the cause rather than the effect? If you remove, like effects are many, cause is only one. Cause is only one, separation from the source of oneness to the self-image that is seeking through the resources outside.
Correct. So I'm familiar with what Nidra Yoga is, obviously, but for somebody who's watching, is it breath, focusing on breath? Is it posture? Is it a meditative state? What exactly is it?
Amazing question. You are right on. So Yoga Nidra is learning how to go into deeper, integrated, called zero stress, integrated yoga zone. So it is moving into that oneness within. That is why the Yoga Nidra that I teach is not the same as what is popularly taught. Yoga that I teach is not the same as what is popularly taught as a physical discipline. It is taught as a how to return to the I am that I am, the soul that I am, the divine presence, the love that I am within. So how do we do that? So we use the different techniques for entering into Yoga Nidra state. So what is Yoga Nidra state? Why it is called yogic sleep? So because we understand sleep but we do not know what yogic sleep is. So we use sleep to understand where we go in yogic sleep. So in sleep we go below the ego mind into subconscious integration of consciousness and energy. And in the meditation-based Yoga Nidra, you go beyond the ego mind from conscious awareness. Therefore, it is going to the same state as yoga, but not below the ego mind, beyond the ego mind.
Yes, because a lot of people think of yoga today as just going to a yoga class and doing postures. That's not what we're talking about here.
No, not at all.
Correct.
So I want to let you know how it is different, because I come from not the scholarship of a yogi who has learned from the books or just superficial teachers who haven't entered the state of yoga themselves, of samadhi state themselves. So I come from the yogic traditions where my guru's guru, who was Shiva himself, that gave him the special techniques for awakening prana and kundalini. So that awakening takes you, to go to that awakening, you have to go beyond the ego mind. So what I teach through Yoga Nidra or I Am Yoga is how to drop into the alpha state in which you enter as you begin to fall asleep. And then as you fall into deeper sleep, you go towards theta or delta states where your ego mind completely disappears. The doer and achiever in the dimension of time, ego mind disappears. You have entered into meditative zone that where the meditation takes you in the deep sleep, but it is not the deep sleep. Why? Because deep sleep is an inborn gift from divine for the survival. You can go there into that integrated zone and experience what happens in that state of yogic sleep. You experience that, but you cannot live there. So Yoga Nidra that I have developed is meditation-based Yoga Nidra, and I have given the powerful tools and techniques and insightful teachings that allows any practitioner, even a novice, to go beyond the ego mind, and that is almost like a master meditator who has practiced for many years. And people who try meditation, they take them many months of practice before they really enter meditative state. The earlier states are struggle with mind and meditative state. So this technique allows them to bypass that stage, and even a beginner can experience of Yoga Nidra state almost immediately. And we have been teaching that in our Amrit Yoga Institute in Salt Spring, Florida, for many years. And it has become so popular that wherever I go for lectures, they say, would you please guide us into Yoga Nidra experience all the time.
Yes.
Why? Because that gives them the experience of what they talk about yoga is.
Yes.
And that has no experience. So yoga means experiencing the oneness within. Without experience, it's not yoga. So the Yoga Nidra is the experience of oneness, which is called zero stress yoga zone. So zero stress means there are no conflicting parts that are manifesting through different levels of our consciousness, are brought into harmonious integration below the ego mind consciously. That is where, then it is not just what you do in Yoga Nidra, but through the training in Yoga Nidra, I teach people how to go there every time you are disengaged from the source of love within, source of divine presence within, by being caught into an identification with the reactive perceiver in you that you are not. And therefore, it is not just Yoga Nidra training. And I tell people that if you just, why am I inviting you to take your time to come to a training? You could have gotten into Yoga Nidra just buying a CD for $12. But they do not know, because that is where you are also learning, not only learning how to drop into Yoga Nidra state, but how to live those principles in your everyday life, no matter where you go, what you do, or who you are with. You are using the technique of how to shift from reactive perceiver to responsive interaction, no matter who is there with you, what is present in front of you. So that means you are going from dualistic doer ego mind, creating conflict with the other, you are replacing with co-creative interaction between you and the object, you and the other, you and the world, you and yourself.
You mention a lot of the ego mind. Would you say that is what a lot of people, they tend to not really have a major shift as in wanting deeper spiritual connection, wanting deeper connection with inside self, unless a major crisis, car accident, near-death experience, all these major shifts.
Divorces, health problems,
exactly.
Death of a loved one.
Is it because of the
midlife
ego?
Crisis.
Is it because of the ego that they're waiting for these crises before they shift?
So the midlife crisis, menopause, and this events that wake you up from being caught into living mechanically, habitually, and with self-destructive patterns at the ego mind level, that is carried out by the self-image that has separated from the self within. Now it is trying to survive by seeking the same separation outside, but calling it integration. So I want to get married because I feel love for you you make me, give me the love, and then we will experience the same separation that I am separating from within myself. So the entire illusion of search for love or God is separation from the source. That is what most people do. And it is not who is doing, it's a separated part of you who lives in separation called self-image. Self-image is created in the dimension of time, in everything that you encountered in the past through reactive perceiving, so that you converted every experience from being in tune with and in harmony with who or what is present. You were trying to be identified with your memories of what was present in the past. Therefore, you're recreating past again and again, and every time you search love through new relationship, new work, new location, new house, everything new, and that is not sustainable because the conflict lives in the memories of the past. So this yoga is how to eliminate the traumas, hurts, pain, abuse that you have had experience in the past. How to overcome that by using this technique. This is the most powerful technique for eliminating trauma. That is what most people are suffering from.
Yes.
But that trauma was created by ego mind. So the ego mind that created the trauma cannot solve it. Therefore, Yoga Nidra says, go beyond it into witnessing presence so that it can eliminate the trauma.
So it sounds like, Guru Dev, Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about we operate daily from 95% of our subconscious mind, which is the experiences of the past that you're talking about.
I call it unconscious mind.
Unconscious mind.
Memories of the past.
Yes.
They are not in subconscious. Subconscious, I call it, where the co-creative polarity of consciousness and energy is functioning in harmony. This is my unique contribution.
Nice. So with Nidra Yoga, we're actually expanding our consciousness.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to get past the ego mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is why Christ says, unless you die, you cannot be born again. Is who dies and who is born again? What is resurrection? Who is resurrecting and who is dying? So that is why Christ illustrated, he died for us, illustrating us how to be reborn by the way he died. So on the cross, he allowed his ego to die. And I just give an example for people. I said, can you imagine Christ? Right, he's on the cross, he's in the great agony, he's being hurt by being punished for all the good things he did in his life and feeling so frustrated with people who are so offensive. And then suppose Christ calls Mother Mary, say, come a little closer. I want to leave a message for you after I die. Take care of those bastards after I am dead. Forget about the resurrection.
Yeah, no.
That was ego speaking.
Exactly.
Instead, from the cross, he said, my Lord, forgive all those who do not understand. That was the death, ultimate death of ego. That wasn't quite dead in the Garden of Gethsemane when he said, my Lord, why thou hast forsaken me.
Yes. Wow. I know there's going to be a lot of viewers hunkering in on that. And you just answered a question for me. I just recently met an amazing gentleman. I see him as having a beautiful soul. And he wanted to do meditation and be more awakened. But his patterns, continuous patterns, just suffocated what I foresaw that he could be, that his heart was desiring to be. And it sounds like the answer of what's preventing a lot of people from making that shift comes down to one word, and that is ego.
Exactly. Ego that lives in the form of self-image and self-concepts and conceptual understanding of themselves, other, and the world. Those concepts are full of fears and attachments. So that is what prevents them from seeing the possibilities and the openness to receive what is present as a gift of the divine. Therefore, they suffer from self-imposed limitations, but they do not know. That is my contribution, how to recognize who you are not, which lives with these fears and attachments. That's the only two things your memories are trying to help you with. So all the memories that you have had of all the positive experience of loving relationship with your parents, with your children, and you got addicted. And you said, oh, it comes from that. But the same relationship from which it came, you found, as you went deeper, you found it didn't come from them, it came from you. That is why the same relationship that gave you the positive experience also gave you the negative experience. Marriage turned into divorce. Love turned into hate. Success turned into failure. These are the perceptions of the dualistic ego mind. And so Krishna in the Yoga of Bhagavad Gita says, yoga means being in equanimity with ups and downs, success and failure, for me and against me. That is called dying of the ego.
I love it, and I love that you do Nidra Yoga, because so many people have heard, just put your ego aside. And it's just not that easy. So you're giving them a tool to go beyond their ego, to shift into that more awakened and aware life that they're truly seeking. And that's what people want. Give me a quick tool, show me how to do it, and let me do it.
Right. So this is what there are many books that say go beyond ego, but they do not give the powerful tools to get to the cause of all suffering they have had in their past. So all the past represents the symptoms, and the suffering that was caused lives inside of you in the memory of the past. So if you remove the memory, you remove the self-image that has the memories of all the good and bad experiences. This is what God talks to Adam and Eve and says, do not eat the forbidden fruit of good and evil from the tree of knowledge. It is not the historical story. It is the story that applies to God, that is omnipresent. Right now, God is speaking to each one of us every moment, telling our Adam and Eve, our sympathetic and parasympathetic, male and female polarity, Adam and Eve polarity, do not eat the forbidden fruit. So who is God talking to? To the mind that has forbidden fruit of good and evil experiences. So it selects good and avoids evil, which is called, there is no such thing in the world of reality, but the karmic memories create separation of good and evil. But there is no good and evil before you choose good from the old memories.
But so many people constantly are going after the temporal pleasures, the outer pleasures of life. Let's say they're partying, they're drinking, they're going out and they're doing the boating. And you know, in this gentleman's case, it's, I don't have time for spirituality. And I mean, that's just going to lead to an early death, is it not?
Right, because what you just said, an example, shows that they want to eliminate the symptoms, which you can, like if you have this emotional problem that you have had in your memories of the past, what do? You play it in your self-talk, where you are reinforcing the reactive perceptions you have had with anyone in the past. And then when you reinforce it, you are using the energy of consciousness to create the separation from consciousness that love is within, that God is within, from the subconscious polarity. And you are moving further away. And but then how you manage to live further away from the oneness and harmony and peace by temporarily inducing the compensation kind of experiences. By eating food, you become addicted to food to feel relief from what you create inside in the form of memories of the past and self-concepts around it and conceptual understanding of everything that happened in the past. That is what you are playing in a self-talk all the time. And now you're trying to eliminate it because it's so hard to live with yourself, with these two selves, two masters sharing the same energy. And so what happens is they go to alcohol, drugs, sex, food, and all those kind of addiction that gives them temporary relief, but it's not a solution.
That's right.
What is different about the yoga that I teach? It removes the cause. So if you remove one symptom, all 99 remain the same. But if you remove the cause, you begin to erode all of the symptoms.
Right. So in simple terms, they're out there trying to fill a hole. A hole being their ego, but an ego can never be filled. It's constantly seeking more and more and more.
Right.
So the key is to get past the ego, and that's where true healing, awakening, and fruitful living
Yes,
is.
because ego has no real existential reality. Ego that is coming from the self-image is coming from the memories, reactively processed memories of the past. That was your own doing. It is not what really happened. It's what you did with what happened. Therefore, the reactive perception changed the reality into personal creation. Therefore, in yoga, it is called karma body. So this is all about removing karmic past. And this is the most unique technique that I have developed, and that has been used world over. And ever since I have been teaching this yoga, I started teaching in early 1960, and that was my focus has been always how to use the inner dimension of yoga that helps you to go back to the source of oneness that I am within.
Yes.
And therefore, it became so popular that by 1970, I had the largest yoga center in America, and I had 150 yoga classes. I had trained 15 yoga teachers. That is why so many well-known, prestigious organizations and the great learned beings have given me the title that they have recognized that you are the one who first brought yoga to the West on the largest scale.
And gratitude for that. You know,
But what I see is that there are many masters who brought different aspects of yoga. For example, Swami Vivekananda, who came in 1897 for the World Conference on Yoga in Chicago. Then Paramahansa Yogananda came, and then they brought the ancient teachings of yoga, of Sanatana Dharma, of a Vedic culture. And then Paramahansa Swami Muktananda came. He also had same Kundalini background. He was a real Kundalini master, but he did not reveal the origin of Kundalini or origin of yoga. But my master, in last 700, hardly any yogi had revealed that secret, that yoga is born from the source of oneness within you, the higher power within you. So then entire practice that I teach to the students who come for yoga teacher training, yoga nidra teacher training, or a therapeutic yoga training here, or quantum breath meditation, I teach them how to recognize each time the reactive perceiver comes in, you recognize it's not you. Anything that it says through the thoughts, emotions, and feelings is not real you. So you have to learn how to convert that and learn to be witnessing presence to all those things So you are not fighting your past, you're simply witnessing your past, and therefore you erode the effects of the past just by witnessing. That is why Patanjali says the practice of yoga means witnessing the modifications of mind. He didn't say practicing asanas. So that's why my yoga approach that I developed is called meditation in motion, or active relaxation. So how can you be active and be relaxed and integrated in life?
You had mentioned something very, very important, and that was connecting to the higher power within you. And I call those moments of sacred soul shifts. You know, I recently just came back from Sedona, and that was quite the wow, amazing, amazing experience. And, you know, they call that the spiritual vortex out there. And it definitely has clean air, and just, you can get up early in the morning, and there's just a sense of peace there. But once you connect to that higher power within you, within you, it's hard to go back. You want to stay in the direction because it provides clarity, peace, love, sound mind, and ultimately health.
This is the secret that has happened in my teachings in the West. I came as a student in Philadelphia College of Art. My love was yoga, but I was studying here art. And I'm an artist, but my love was art. But this art, I was teaching inner dimension of yoga to reconnect with the power within, inner dimension of yoga. Therefore, when people reconnected with their own power of energy, the prana shakti, divine mother in their body, they had the amazing transformative experience. Therefore, anything that I did in early 60s to early 70s, the ashram where people, I had a Samnitown ashram where I started teaching more in-depth teaching, because I was teaching our group, our Yoga Society of Pennsylvania, which was also many teachers I had trained. They were teaching 150 yoga classes a week. Wow. And it was the biggest in those days. There was hardly any yoga. And there were some party yoga practitioners and teachers here and there. But why did I grew to be the biggest in the whole of America? Because I was teaching it as an inner dimension of yoga. And therefore, when I moved from Philadelphia area, I gave away my classes because I saw that the depth of yoga can be practiced only if people commit and live with me and go into inner dimension. So when I went to Samnitown, I had 50 students who gave up their life, their jobs, and they came to live with me, and they went into in-depth training. They also became the part of the programs that we offered at Samnitown on yoga teacher training and all that. So from there, everywhere I went, they received the Shakti experience, which was not just verbal communication, but energetic communion. Therefore, everywhere I went, flock of people will say, I want to come and study more in-depth experience, which I have now. I want to develop it by being more committed to the practice. So I had bought another ashram, 280 acres, 60 miles from Samnitown, Pennsylvania, into Summit Station, Pennsylvania. That grew to be 150 residents, just as a full-time volunteer residents, as a staff for the program center that it became. And then that wasn't big enough, so I bought some Shadowbrook, which was the biggest. Like, it had a 4-story building. Each story was 1 acre, means 4 acres of one building and 350 acres. There, I brought the staff from Summit Station, 150. Within a year and a half, it grew into 350 full-time resident staff
Wow.
of the Kripalu Center.
Wow.
Why? Because it is not because I knew how to advertise, I knew the psychology of yoga, I had learned it and expert in psychology, I had not written any books on it. It was all because I was energetically transmitting along with the verbal teaching. That's why people were so touched, and this
Yes.
yoga center grew to be the largest in the North America,
Yes.
which now I am here in Salt Springs, Florida.
And I'm happy you're close to me. So in ending our interview, there's one big word you said, commit. It is a commitment to self to want to experience a better life, a healthier you, love, clarity, peace, all those things that we truly are seeking. And the best way for them to do that is through Nidra yoga, to get past their ego. The time is now to create a shift. How do they get a CD in their hands?
Well, I think we have on our website, we have free CDs, short CDs that they can experience, and also they can connect with our store, which also sells CD. So we have free as well as the shop for it.
Wonderful. Thank you for putting this into simplistic terms for so many people that are stuck. They're at their end of their wits, and they're really searching and frustrated and desperate
Right.
for an answer.
So what I see is that most people, when they come here, when they listen to me, they come for it and they say, how can I get this? Can you tell me the technique? So they want to get it right there and then do it at home.
Of course.
They do not know that it takes more of a commitment that you just said,
Yes.
you talked about, to study, like they think to study this medicine or psychology, it takes time and you have to make commitment. But Spirit, give me the technique and I'll do it at home.
Yes.
People do not know that technique is not that easy to practice
No.
unless you learn through the course that explains this unusual secrets of how to return back to the source of love within.
Yes.
And that is why my book on yoga of relationship, it has won 5 literary awards in the book shows.
Yes.
And my life story on my 80th birthday book has earned 7 awards, book awards, from Paris, London, New York, Southern California, and many others, 7 of them, because these principles are so understood when they hear it.
And having made many a sacred soul shifts in my life, I want to encourage all of our viewers to make the commitment to experience. I'm nowhere near where you're at, but I'm certainly on my journey, and I'll never go back to where I was at, because this is a blissful way of living. So I want to encourage people to commit, because what they can get at the end of the day, there's no pill, there's no psychiatrist, there's nothing out there that's going to supply them with the wholeness and the oneness of connecting with inside.
That's beautiful. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
So nice being
Thank you.
with you. You are on the path, an explosion that is waiting to happen for you as well. When you practice this, you will also see for yourself as to what is being talked about in the books
Yes.
and philosophies and psychology. You will know that they are only talking about the superficial aspects that doesn't allow the people to go to the inner dimension through the medium of prana, spirit prana, that connects you to the soul being that you are.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gurudev. Thank you.